And down the street is Benirus Manor. This is, in my personal opinion, the best of the houses bought in the Elder Scrolls 4, mainly because it's got a backstory to it, unlike most of the other houses. Anyway, important stuff is on the inside. Lord Benirus was the original owner. Mysteriously disappeared over 100 years ago, and more recently disappeared again in my basement, but we'll get to that. Takes a while to load, apparently because the game senses that there's a whole lot of useless crap in my house, as you're about to see. I tried to aim for as realistic a house as possible. This is not exactly how I would build my house, but it's pretty close. That chair is there. It's not exactly the most comfortable looking thing. Next to it we have pairs of shoes. I went for comfort near the door, maybe for a bit of travel. Leather sandals, quilted shoes, so on and so forth. I put baskets everywhere because it's as close as I can get to the modern representation of sanitation, i.e. trash cans. This is my bookcase. Anybody who is a regular player of any of the Oblivion games will appreciate the amount of ridiculous time spent positioning these books. If you were to touch any of these books with your character, well, as you can see, didn't move too many, but good luck trying to get a mid. It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to do. So we'll just leave that. That will stay. I'm obviously not going to save this game. Here's a bench. This is the truncheon of submission. That's in case anybody decides to break through my front door. I beat them into submission. Here's more shoes, huntsman moccasins, so on and so forth. This is the Reign of Burning Dogs. Very funny. I recommend it for anybody. That's a languine blade. It's got a really deadly poison on it. That's a flower pot. Nothing special. It's my living room. Special hats. Lots of cool hats. Very cool hats. Knights of the Nine, just, good reading. It's a good book. Shot Raisin and an apple. It's good to munch on. Hanging Gardens. I thought that was a really cool idea. Unfortunately, that book is not as interesting as it makes it sound. Shadow Banished Wine. Very rare. Cloth, because, I don't know, I felt like putting cloth there. It's colorful. Writing desk, parchment and quill, yarn. I always put yarn just in case. Planter, ceramic pitcher, another basket, Weapons. Looky little weapon table. Very cool. Sword, mace, wicked looking. Major staff telekinesis. There's a jar that once held a decrepit human hand. Now it's empty. This is one of my pride and joys. Pretty much every single utensil and container in the game. At least one version of each. Unfortunately, one of them is stolen, and I can't seem to find a non-stolen equivalent, so that'll stay that way. But yes, that's a lot of stuff. It's not that hard to get, really. Just kind of look around. Arrows. Lots of arrows. Almost every kind of arrow. There's a hat, there's a hat, there's a hat, there's a hat, there's a hat. Bookcase. Kitchen! This is a giant piece of meat. There's a glitch in the game that allows you to grow things, like that planter there, that planter there. This loaf of bread, these grapes. These are not normal grapes. These are grapes from the world of Gulliver. That's a really big corn cob. That's crab, onion, got some blackberries over there. Anybody wants to sit down, they're fine too. That is a very large apple. Unfortunately, with great size comes great gravity, and it constantly falls. So we put it back. And it's kind of a space hog, so just leave it be. Watermelon, pumpkin. This is my food chest. We have shepherd's pie, otherwise known as hamburger pie in our world, at least in my world. It's famous potato bread, like that. Here's every single food in the game. That's a planner. I got a game at dinner, which is a story about somebody killing each other at dinner, so my dinner guests would feel very welcome. This is where I contain my spices and herbs. See, we got everyone here. This is every normal herb. The special herbs are contained elsewhere so that nobody gets into them and decides to sprinkle their food with them. That's another letter about assassination. I promise I had no part in that. Stored in my cellar, we'll get to that. There's a planter. There's an hourglass. There's a weird carpet. Every kind of pair of metallic boots. There's a saber. Planters. There's a floating planter. This, unfortunately, is incomplete. It's very difficult to complete, but this is the 2920 series. Almost everyone except the last ones. Yeah, I don't have 11. So, but still pretty good. And again, very hard to do. I've got name shoes. Nope. Name shoes. Yes, Mr. Boots. Hourglass. So on and so forth. Pants. Every single pair of pants. Shirts. And hats. Or, you know, cowls. Or so forth. Every single one. And gloves. And yeah, you get the idea. Boots. Magical shoes. White mage's shoes. Sneak. Water walking. I used to have one of the Iliad statues standing there. Unfortunately, there's a glitch in the game that makes the Iliad statue melt through your house. So every time I'd put it there, it would end up around my kitchen table. No explanation as to why, but the Iliads were apparently very afraid of heights and didn't want to stay on the second floor with bastards. These are the scales of pitiless justice. It's a scale that does something when it's in your inventory, but I didn't really like it being in my inventory, so it's now on my desk in my room. These are the weights, different sizes. Wild elves. I like elves, so that's why that's there. Through this door. Here's a painting you can get for one of the quests. It's just kind of cool. It's gotten instead of a sword, so I guess the trade-off isn't quite even in terms of game use, but still, it's pretty cool. Not a lot of people have it. There's some boots of bloody bounding. Here's some mithril boots. There's some chain boots of swift merchant. There's a broom, because it gets dusty up here. The game replenishes food in certain places unless you put something else there, or if you put the food somewhere else in the house, it'll teleport back to the same place. So the strawberries and the apples that are usually here are now in the pantry so that they don't reappear and start falling on the ground, because that's irritating. That's a silver tankard. Over here we have another club. This is the Exodus, another cool book. That is the Legion helmet. That is the Imperial Horseman helmet, and that is the Escutcheon of Coral. It's an ebony shield with a tree in the center instead of the other designs. It's very, very nifty. That's a balcony. You can jump from there. It's dangerous. Don't do it. This is my office. As you can see, I'm a thinker. See these crumpled pieces of paper? That's right. I like to crumple up pieces of paper and throw them to make myself look like I'm busy. There's also some in this basket. Yes, I took the time to collect pieces of crumpled paper. Judge me not. Another candle. These are some buckled shoes. These are the katanas. We have katanas, ladies and gentlemen. We used to have axes here. I took them away for some reason. I'm not sure. This holds the keys. This holds the pelts and the cloth. Bear pelt, lion pelt, wolf pelt. Killed my fair share of each of those. This is an hourglass. Some paintbrushes, planter. We have a letter. A love letter. That's kind of... that's not there. Just disregard that. That never happened. Inside the desk we have more parchment, different kinds of paintbrushes. They don't really look different, but it's cool to say that I have different kinds of paintbrushes. Paint kind of quill. There's quill there. So on and so forth. That letter doesn't exist. We have the Claymore of the Dynamo. It's a badass looking glass sword. Yeah. Anyway, this is Umarail's sword. It's the boss, one of the bosses of the Knights of the Nine quest, the last boss. I got a sword. It's just an elven brace sword, nothing really special, but it's cool to say I have it. It's a door to my balcony. I'll show you at the end because it takes a while for the game to load. Moving on to the basement, which is the focus of the Anvil House.